Great leaders don't burn bridges, for you'll be surprised how many times you'll have to cross the very same river over and over again. Coming up, the breaking news, guys, is this. Cyril Ramaphosa has appointed the former Deputy Minister of Finance, Mcebisi Jonas. You remember him? Yep. Mcebisi Jonas has been appointed as a special envoy to the United States. So Cyril just announced Mcebisi Jonas on Monday, the 14th of April 2025. So now be careful, guys. Mcebisi Jonas is sent there as a special envoy, not an ambassador, okay? There's a difference between special envoy and ambassador. A person who's been sent to a foreign country as a special envoy has got limited missions. He just go to that foreign country and execute those specific missions and come back home. And he has got limited authorities that govern his responsibilities because he doesn't have much responsibilities. Whereas an ambassador on the other side is a senior diplomat. Now, there's a person who is sent to a foreign country on permanent basis. He even stays in that particular foreign country. And of course, he carries a lot of authorities and a lot of responsibilities on his plate compared to a special envoy. Special envoy is just Ngena Puma, okay? But he's still a diplomat, okay? But with limited responsibilities. I hope that makes sense, guys. Okay, and they both represent their home country abroad, but of course with different responsibilities. I hope that makes sense.
A significant diplomatic move. President Cyril Ramaphosa, has appointed former Deputy Finance Minister Mcebisi Jonas as South Africa's special envoy to the United States. For more on the president's thinking, we're joined now by presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya. It's great to have you on the line, sir. Thanks for coming on. Our political editor calls it an inspired decision by the president. Tell us more about President Cyril Ramaphosa's thinking here.
Well, good day, Michelle, and good day to your viewers. Obviously, Michelle, yourself and the viewers will know that this appointment has been made against a backdrop of a diplomatic impasse currently with the United States, as well as the sort of urgent need for us to resolve that impasse. And so the president opted for a special envoy that will report directly to him, whilst working closely with Minister Tau and Minister Lamola in their respective portfolios. The advantage being that a special envoy doesn't have to deal with the sort of bureaucratic burden that ambassadors often have to deal with prior to being able to officially conduct their duties in a host country. And so this appointment reflects the sense of urgency as well as the president's commitment in researching the relationship with the United States, which you'll also know is historic and has been a strategic relationship and remains a strategic relationship, notwithstanding the current difficulties that we face at the moment.
My major concern about Mcebisi Jonas, guys, is this. Mcebisi Jonas also, just like Ibrahim Rasool, Mcebisi Jonas also has bad-mouthed Trump. Yes. And he said worse things about Trump than Ibrahim. Whatever Ibrahim Rasool said about Trump is nothing compared to what Mcebisi Jonas said about Trump in 2020. Yep. You remember this?
Right now, the US is undergoing a watershed moment, with Biden the certain winner in the presidential race against the racist, homophobe Donald Trump. How we got to a situation where a narcissistic right-winger took charge of the world's greatest economic and military powerhouse is something that we need to ponder over. It is something that all democracies need to ponder over.
So now, my concern is, what if when Jonas rocks up to USA, and Trump say, hey, I remember you. Then what's going to happen? Because as far as I know, the foreign leaders have got the right to stop or to refuse your ambassador or your special envoy in case they have a problem with him, just like they did with Rasul hitting him with persona non grata. So in other words, the USA leaders have got the right, if they have got a problem with these two guys, our ambassador or our envoy, they've got the right to say, hey, we don't want this guy in this country. Yeah, they've got the right to say that. Hence, they did with Ibrahim Rasul. Yeah, persona non grata. Besides, guys, Trump has got sellouts all over. I mean, guys like Joel Pollack. You remember Joel Pollack? This is a guy who was in a U.S. ambassador runner-up list to become a U.S. ambassador in South Africa. This guy is a former South African, but now he's based in the USA now. He has taken a U.S. citizenship. That's a guy who is Trump's eyes and ears of what is happening in South Africa. A liar of note, just like Elon Musk. These are some guys who are feeding Trump with all lies about South Africa. Guys like that. Guys like Afiforum, DA, Elon Musk. Those are all guys who will just go back to Trump and say, hey, Trump, you remember this guy? This Mcebisi Jonas guy, this is a guy who said this, and that about you. So that's my major concern. That's my major concern about Mcebisi Jonas. That, this thing now is coming back to bite him in the butt. My major concern is that Mcebisi Jonas, he might be a target for all these guys who are Trump's eyes and ears. They will go after him and make sure that Trump doesn't accept him at all. That's just my concern, guys. But again, if I were to play devil's advocate, and if I were to check on the other side of this whole Mcebisi Jonas thing, right within Trump's administration, there are guys there within Trump's administration who spoke so badly about Trump. I mean, guys like Marco Rubio, for instance, who once called Trump a con artist. He said horrific things about Trump. But the very same guy now he's within Trump's administration as an American Secretary of the State under Trump. So maybe you'll never know. Maybe Trump will just ignore the issue of Mcebisi Jonas and say, he was just being political, and just brush it all under his carpet. He said such horrific things about Trump. Remember this?
Look, I never wanted it to get to this point. I had hoped that by its own course, by the way the media covers politics, people would open their eyes and see who Donald Trump really is. But that, unfortunately, has not happened. The polls and the early states indicate that he's been able to fool a significant number of people into believing that he is something that he's not. Donald Trump is a world-class con artist. He conned all these people that signed up for Trump University. Now he's trying to do the same thing to Republican voters. He's trying to convince them that somehow he's the guy that's going to stand up to illegal immigration, but he hires illegal immigrants. That he's fighting for American workers, but he's hiring foreign workers for his hotels. That he's going to bring back jobs from China and from Mexico, but in fact he's creating jobs in China and Mexico because that's where all of his suits and ties that he sells are made. It's a con job, it's a scam, and we're going to unveil it here, we're going to reveal it, and I believe the more people learn about that, the less support he's going to have in the weeks to come.
Donald Trump has won in 3 states. You say the voters there were conned. What does that say about the voters in those states?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the media coverage as well. I mean, I'm not speaking about you in particular, John, but the media coverage for Donald Trump has been almost cheerleading over the last couple of weeks, and I'm convinced it's because many in the press want him to be the nominee. 1, I think they think it's going to be good for ratings, and 2, because they know they have a lot of material to work with. If Donald Trump were to ever become the nominee, immediately the hounds of hell would descend on him. They're going to tear him apart, everything he's ever done, from not releasing his taxes to all of his failed business dealings. And Hillary Clinton's going to have a clear shot to the Oval Office. And so I think there are many out there that are rooting for that outcome so that he's the nominee, and you can see it in the coverage he's gotten. I mean, this guy has not offered a single serious policy proposal, which is important if you want to be president of the United States. And again, the other night at the debate, he refused to outline a health care plan. I mean, and they just kind of moved on instead of pressing him on it. He gave a ridiculous answer on the national debt, and they moved on without pressing him on it. No other candidate could have gotten away with that. So I think there's a weird bias here in the media rooting for Donald Trump because they know he's the easiest Republican to beat.
Let me ask you about all the things you've now said about Donald Trump. You said he's running a big scam. It's a con job. So how can you possibly still then retain the position that if he's the nominee, you'll support him?
Because he's never going to be the nominee. So I'm not worried about a hypothetical that's never going to happen.
What's confusing about that, though, is you say if he were the nominee, it would destroy the conservative movement. You're painting scary pictures of him
Absolutely.
being the nominee, but then you're saying he'll never be the nominee. You signed on to the hashtag Never Trump. I guess what people wonder is you say all these terrible things about him, but then why might you not, like Chris Christie, who said bad things about him, just turn around and endorse him once he gets the nomination?
Well, he's not going to be the nominee because we are not going to allow, people will wake up and we're not going to allow a con artist to take over the party of Lincoln and Reagan. I mean, he is pulling off a world-class scam here. I mean, he's telling people he's all these things that he's never been his entire life. He says he's fighting for the little guy, the working class. He has spent his entire business career sticking it to working people.
Let me ask
when
you,
his projects go under, the first people that don't get paid are the contractors. Some of them have gone bankrupt. They're calling me. I mean, I'm getting nonstop emails and calls now from people that have been scammed by Donald Trump, and their stories are heartbreaking.
So yeah, what do you think? Do you think when Trump hears everything about what Mcebisi Jonas said about him in the past, will Trump just sweep it all under the carpet? Or Trump will just go after him with everything he has? And let me hear your comment below. And of course, if you are coming for the first time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.